Question 1. How do your products use or challenge conventions, and how do they represent social groups or issues? The conceptual idea for my music video is based around the representations of women and males and their perceived role in society. Objectification and sexualization of women has been an issue in the media for a long time, but as postmodernism suggests, the line between reality and media no longer exists, and therefore sexist or misogynist representations of women are now more damaging to society than ever before. In addition, traditionally, African American males have been depicted in a negative light, whether it is violent, stupid, or subsidiary to the white hegemony. However, in the last couple of decades, with the rise of hip-hop and the glorification of gang culture, drugs, money, and alcohol, their representation has shifted, but not necessarily for the better. The protagonist in my music video is a black male in his late teens, early 20s. He is shown to be having girls throwing themselves at him without him doing anything to be worthy of this attention, i.e., doesn't show signs of showing any respect to the woman and doesn't seem to put in a lot of effort to impress these women. By doing this, I follow the stereotypical representation of both men and women in music videos. Women are easy, and men get any woman they want without them necessarily showing they deserve this attention. This, for the African American male, could be argued to be a positive representation socially, and a step away from the oppressive representations we've seen in the past. However, culturally and morally, it is a very negative one. Males would watch this and aspire to be like the protagonist, as he seemingly has everything a man could want. This representation could even appeal to women in the sense that they also want that attention from an attractive dominant male. However, morally, this view represents a black male treating women as objects that can be his request. The females in my music video are also fulfilling the stereotype of a woman using their bodies and accommodating to man's needs in order to attract them. An example of this is how in one scene the three girls washed Raphael's car. This reinforces the patriarchal hierarchy we have in society, which has been prominent for a very long time. Another convention that is popularly used in pop music videos, such as in Tiny Temper's Girls Like, is how there are multiple girls all seeking attention from just one male. This is a degrading representation, as it demonstrates that one man is enough to please a woman, but men need multiple women to fulfill their needs. In addition, how submissive the females are to this is a further example of the misogynistic nature of mainstream media. Women empowerment and woman objectification are two different concepts I explored in my research in an attempt to identify the difference and how to accurately portray the correct message in my music video. When looking at the differences between the two, the biggest differentiator is who has the power in the media you're analyzing. It isn't dependent on what the women are wearing or how they're acting. Instead, it's whether it's filmed to celebrate the woman or for them to be looked at objectively. As I wanted my music video to follow the conventions of females in pop music videos, I sexualized the females featured. Male voyeurism is a big convention explored in my music video, which is entirely filmed from the male gaze. An example of this is in the pool scenes when Raphael, the protagonist, sees the girls sunbathing. Through cinematography, I attempted to show the females' unawareness of how they are being watched and admired by the male eye. For example, one shot I filmed from Raphael's point of view, spotting them behind a bush before approaching them. Another shot used was when the two women and Raphael are about to jump in the pool together. Their backs are facing the camera, where Raphael allows them to jump in the pool, and he turns around and winks at the camera, and only then does he follow after them. This shot not only indicates the ignorance of the women, but also demonstrates how the male is seeking approval from the audience. Another way to demonstrate the patriarchal hierarchy in media was through the actors' gesture codes. I achieved this in the pool scene by making the women as lifeless as an object, not interacting with each other or showing any emotion, and only once Raphael appears do they come to life and start smiling and conversing. In contrast, in the football and car scene, I had the women fully immersed in a conversation, but once they spotted Raphael, what they were talking about was no longer important and their attention was completely on him. Although I'm following the stereotypical representation of males and females in media, the music video throughout has elements of metafiction to remind the audience that it isn't real. For example, by Raphael continuously looking at the camera, on one hand he is seeking praise and approval from the audience, but on the other hand he's breaking the third wall, reminding the audience that this is a piece of fiction and not reality. Additionally, to further establish this concept, I used the first and last sequence of Raphael to show that the whole music video was a dream, a fantasy he has and not his reality. I established this by having him jump into the green screen at the beginning, where his fantasy begins, and then falling down at the end, illustrating him coming back to reality. Theorists such as Stuart Hall suggest representation is an act of reconstruction instead of reflection. However, audiences that view and use this media passively or sometimes even impassively take it as reality. Therefore, I thought it was important to make it clear in editing and directing that this isn't reality and these aren't real representations of these social groups. However, despite this, I also wanted to follow the conventions of a pop music video, which are typically fun, catchy, and not a piece of media you watch and think too hard about, which is why I filmed it in a more comical manner, allowing it to not be very serious.